First of all, thanks for everyone watching my video about Masters athletes doping. When I made that, I didn't think anyone would watch it, but even more so, I thought people would be, I won't say upset, but wouldn't understand why I wasn't angry about what had happened. But that said, just to do a little flex, who I am a 7-time U.S. national track cycling champion, current national champion in the 500 meter. In the last 3 years, I've won 2 silver medals in team sprint and 2 individual bronze medals. One of those bronze medals, the most recent one, was in a race with the individual that I referred to in the first video. That said, I am deep in the sport, and more importantly, I've come up through the ranks slowly, having started from zero. And that said, and I appreciate everyone that's reached out to me, either left a comment or messaged me privately. I appreciate every single one of those comments and messages because it gives me an insight. Starting this dialogue with people gives me an insight of how people look at the sport, if either they're involved in it or they're looking at it from a periphery. It just helps me understand the perspectives of other people, and more importantly, how people end up in a situation like we're in now with my friend. That said, one comment that I want to talk about today, and there's 10 million that I want to talk about, but one of the comments was, or idea is that, okay, all are doping, or everyone's doping in Masters. What's the point of competing? That's a great question, right? It is disillusioning. It is demotivating. It's depressing. And I get why you would have that feeling, because there's so much time and money and energy and commitment that allows you to be able to compete in these events. So if you know doping, play the devil's advocate, which they're not, but let's just say they are, what is the point? Well, that goes back to what I just said earlier about me climbing up the ranks. I knew everybody was better than me, but that didn't deter me. And it's that realization that doesn't demotivate me to keep trying. And I kind of to that in that first video. And I've alluded to it constantly in all my other videos, but you probably don't know me and haven't seen any of those videos. And that's the message I try to get to people. It's the journey that I've been on personally, being someone who frankly sucked and worked his way up to being a 7-time U.S. national champion. I want that to be this motivating factor for people, that you keep things. If you create a process that doesn't involve drugs, create a process, enjoy the journey and that process, and refine that process. That's how you win from a situation like this. And that's how I've won in a situation like this. Even though that I raced with was doping, it didn't matter to me. And that's why I'm not angry about it. So to that, it began back to, why would you want to compete when the stakes are stacked against you? Well, in my case, they've always been stacked against me. And I can't see in a situation unless you are just absolutely gifted, or you've come from a background in whatever discipline this is. And let's just say in my discipline, track cycling, in the subcategory of sprinting, let's just say you were an elite level competitor when you were younger and you decide to come into Masters. Sure, your vision and your perspective is skewed into thinking like, I can easily win this. Well, you're an outlier. The majority of us were like me, coming from the beginning. Well, honestly, there's probably not a lot of people like me starting from where I started from, but let's just play devil's advocate again. You're starting from scratch just like I did. Everyone's better than you. So then what's the whole point of even starting? And I remember that. Like, it was a person I always refer to, and I love referring to him, and he's a good friend of mine, Anton Quist. He is an absolute legend, and when I started my journey in track cycling, people that knew him and what he had done in track cycling, and more importantly, that he was racing in the local area, which is Washington, D.C., or the Mid-Atlantic, since we don't have a track, we're saying, like, why would you bother? Anton is going to crush you when you race him. And I'm like, that loomed over my head for a long time. But it didn't dissuade me. I didn't stop and just give up before I had the opportunity to race Anton. And that that part of my journey is something I'll carry for the rest of my life, and it is one of the most proud things that I did in my life, was not be dissuaded by the myth, by the legend of Anton Quist. And I just said, you know what? I'm just Will Wong. I like going in circles, turning left on a track. I'm just going to keep on doing what I'm doing. And when the time comes for me to race Anton and he mops the floor up with me, so be it. And is my journey, and it's been repeated over and over and over again as you climb the ladder. And everyone that I've competed against, you would be like, Will, what are you doing? Like Will Wong from 10 years ago to like the guys I'm competing with now. I'm like, Will, are you out of your mind? Years ago, Will, to compete against all these people that you compete against and holding your own and beating. Yeah, I would have told that dude, that 10-year-old Will, like, about it, dude, what are you doing? There's no way you're going to be standing on an individual UCI World Championship podium. So to that, why someone says, why compete? Why even bother competing when the stakes are so stacked against you? Again, playing devil's advocate that everyone is doping. I give you that. You got to try. And if you don't try, you'll never know. And you'll never have that experience and that journey of trying to be the best. And that was like what started my whole journey. It's like when I started getting better, I was like, I just want to learn what it is like to try to be the best. I knew I was not going to be the best, but I wanted to try to learn. And that stuff, that process, those lessons that I've learned, I carry with me still to this day, and I will to my dying day. And it's enriched my life. The failures, the victories, the in-betweens, I'm going to carry that for the rest of my life. Forbid I get cancer and I got to fight through that, or I got to deal with my family member suffering, really close to me suffering. And these are lessons I want to pass on to my son. So another rant coming to an end. Thanks again for watching. Let me know what you think. Leave a comment. I appreciate it. Even better, a like, and even better, a subscribe. I'm trying to continue to create this dialogue with people and just try to, I don't say educate people on what it's like to compete at the level that I'm competing at. If that sounds arrogant, but aren't a lot of people that are doing what I'm doing and sharing that journey and that process. So again, thank you and be safe, and I'll talk to you soon.